All right, let's get started. So tell me a little bit about the Center for Independence and just kind of how all of that got started.
Yeah. So the Center for Independence is a small nonprofit, disability-led organization that serves people with all disabilities. And we are a Center for Independent Living, which are non-residential community-based organizations that are designed and operated by people with disabilities to provide a variety of independent living services. And there are over 500 CILs in the US, and there are 5 in Washington state. And our Center for Independent Living serves 8 counties of Western Washington, starting up north in Whatcom County, going down to Thurston County. And we were founded in 1981. We started off being at Good Samaritan Hospital here in Lakewood, and later we moved on to a separate office in Lakewood. And then in 2012, that's when we got our second location in Marysville.
Oh, mhm.
I don't know how familiar your audience is with Centers for Independent Living, but just a little background about CILs. They are grassroots organizations that evolved out of the civil rights movement. And the independent living movement started in the early 70s. And the first Center for Independent Living was created in 1972 in Berkeley, California. And the IO movement started with Ed Roberts, who had polio and was attending the University of California in Berkeley, but lived in a hospital because there was no accessibility to live with other students on campus. So he advocated along with other students who were also wheelchair users to create the first Center for Independent Living so that they could all participate in the community independently and help others, other disabled folks who want to be integrated in the community and receive peer support.
Yeah, all that's fascinating. Um, like, so what kind of services do you provide at the Center for Independence?
Yeah. So we provide independent living skills training, which that could be, learning how to budget, get around the community, using public transportation, organization and planning. We also provide peer support, and that comes from not only just our participants during our monthly peer group meetings, but also from staff, because most of us are also disabled. We provide individual and systemic advocacy, information and referral, transition services, which includes youth transition, working with youth ages 14 to 24 to prepare for work, college, or other independent living goals. And then the other piece of transition is deinstitutionalization, which is transitioning people out of nursing homes and into a less restricted environment, whether that's adult family home, assisted living, or even their own apartment. So those are the 5 core services we provide.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So like, how are you guys involved with the community to sort of, get the word out there, like the Center for Independence is important? Who are you mostly involved with in the community? Any stakeholders that you partner with in your efforts?
Yeah, we participate in quite a few community committees, such as the Tacoma Area Commission on Disabilities, Pierce County Accessibility Advisory Board Committee. We also work closely with Department of Health to provide emergency preparedness training for people with access and functional needs. We attend community fairs periodically. In fact, we hosted 2 COVID vaccine events this last summer in partnership with DOH. And one was at the Strawberry Festival in Marysville, and one was at Summerfest in Silicon. And we gave out food, had outdoors for all there, gave out $50 gift cards to anyone who got vaccinated or boosted. And we had about 100 people get vaccinated during those events. We also work with AAA's, the Area Agency on Aging, to transition people out of nursing homes. We work closely with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation to provide IL services to their clients. And then we also partner with them to provide pre-employment transition services to students with disabilities by going out in the schools and teaching self-advocacy and skills to prepare for employment. And then we also attend public forums from time to time for like transportation and housing, to have that disability voice and independent living perspective and advocate for accessibility throughout our community.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. If I could just like ask, how do you like make sure that people with disabilities, get the resources and things that they need to sort of, live independently and, be independent, I guess I should say, because like how do you guys go about facilitating that from your perspective as an organization?
So we provide outreach by providing presentations to other service providers that serve people with disabilities. So more people are aware of our services. We also advocate for many of our participants to receive the resources they need if it's not something that we can provide, whether it's access to assistive technology, accommodations at their school, or a caregiver to live independently in their home. Whatever their goal is, whether it's participating in recreation or having a career, we help people with disabilities navigate and utilize those community resources so that they can live their lives the way they wish to.
Yeah, that's 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 important, I guess. If I could just like ask this last question, because I know there's a lot of stigma around disability and stuff like that, ableism, but like, how do you guys as an organization sort of tackle that in order to, create a more inclusive and welcoming space for people with disabilities?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we spend a lot of time educating people on disability and inclusion. We always tell folks that disability is a normal part of life and it's the largest minority group. 1 out of 5 people have a disability, and most likely everyone will have a disability if they live long enough. We also are making a shift from using people's first language to identity first language. So instead of saying I have autism, or a person with a disability, we would say I'm autistic or I'm disabled, because we believe that using identity first language helps, remove the stigma of disability. We believe that disability shouldn't be something that we're ashamed of, so we should be able to talk about it freely. And in terms of like the workplace, and here at our offices, we work to create inclusive and welcoming space for people with disabilities at CFI, by making sure everything is accessible. We let our participants and staff know that if there's any accommodations they need, to just ask and we'll provide them. We also value our participants' input when it comes to planning events and activities, and we encourage our folks to decide what's best for them and what they want to do, and to just let us know how we can support them.
Yeah, that I think is pretty all those things are important, the people first language and just, making sure like how to go about that the right way. I think that's what's important.
Yeah.
Um, mhm.